Angela, I cannot tell you how awesome it is to finally see you. I know we don't get to see each other as much as we would like anymore, but welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me. I know I used to get to see you pretty much every day back when we were working together, and I enjoyed that. So it's good to see you again as well.
So let's talk about that. I want to talk about how you got into golf in the first place. How did golf come into your life?
I mean, golf has been a part of my life, a big part of my life for quite some time now. I grew up watching my dad always play golf. He played football professionally, but always had such a love for golf. His dad was a football coach. I think, if he hadn't been a football coach, my dad probably would have pursued playing golf in college and then professionally. He loves it so much. I started playing when I was about 12 years old. So I actually started pretty late, especially by today's standards for kids. And then just kept playing, was pretty good at it. I won the district championship all 4 years in high school, played in state, all 4 years. And then I went on to play at the University of Texas, received a scholarship there, and majored in broadcast journalism while I was there. Had a wonderful experience at the University of Texas. And I ended up being a broadcast journalist for a while. And one of the places where I worked was Golf Channel. That's where you and I met. And it really loved my stint there. The golf as a sport is just such a wonderful sport to me. It brings so many people together. And that's how my husband and I met. And, here we are. We've been married for almost 7 years. We have 2 beautiful kids. And I think a lot of people probably didn't think that was going to happen when they first heard that we were dating. And we proved them wrong, which is nice.
Yeah, and I've known Sergio for a long, long time. And I think that one of the things I think I said to you that always struck me about Sergio is he was always so good with kids. Like, I could not wait to see Sergio be a dad because I thought he is going to be the best dad. Because he just had a way, with even kids, he was just meeting at the golf course. So it's awesome to see you guys. I can't believe it's been 7 years already. The kids are getting bigger. So how... Sergio's on the Live Tour now, which makes the schedule maybe a little more manageable. How do you balance the golf schedule and all that you do with being parents? And does Live help that?
Yes. Well, first of all, Sergio is a great father. And every time I meet someone who, had little kids and maybe their kids are bigger now, and Sergio, has been playing golf professionally since 1999, I hear these stories about, oh, Sergio played with my kid at this tournament. And there's stories of my kid got hurt and Sergio drove me to the hospital with them because he was the first person we saw, things like that. So he loves kids, and yeah, he's a great daddy. He's super hands-on, and we're really blessed. And yes, Live has really helped with the balance of our lives. It's really nice because there are 14 tournaments, exactly when they are, you're there till Sunday, and you can plan out your schedule and your life. It's still, of course, a lot of travel. It started up as 14 tournaments last year. I believe the first year it was 10 tournaments, but the guys always knew that it was going to get to 14 tournaments. And it's been great. Sergio was just gone for 3 weeks, which is a long time, but that's happening, less often now. He's able to be home for so many more things with the kids because they're getting bigger and they really, really miss their dad. So yeah, it has been a really nice change, and I think a lot of the players are really enjoying it. I know, I was speaking to another player's wife who just a few weeks ago, her husband is one of the greatest players of all time, and she's been out here for over 2 decades, and she was just saying that there were so many weeks that they didn't know if he was going to make the cut, and they didn't know if he didn't make the cut, he was going to have to play the next week, and it was just so hard to have that unpredictability. So that has been a great thing about Live.
Yeah. And I think that balance is so important for our own mental well-being and our own lives. So for that part, I'm so thrilled that, players are able to get that because it can be hard. Everybody thinks everything's so easy when you're a professional athlete. Oh, how could it be hard? They're making money. They're doing this. It's hard. It's hard for anybody to have that balance. So I'm glad that you all have that balance, but I'm also really glad to see all of you. So at events like the majors, are you guys like me where you get as excited as I do that everyone is coming together for those weeks?
Yes, it is really nice. The Masters is a really special place for us. Augusta National, Sergio, won there in 2017, and we have so many great memories there. It's also a like kind of a tough week because he's also, he's had a lot of struggles there as well. But I think that's with many players at many different golf courses and many different events. But it is nice. It's nice for everybody to come together. I think that I think that the live players, they've always seen it as they're all still golfers and they're just trying to play the sport that they love. They're just playing for a different league. So it's nice to see that, a lot of players and people on both sides are kind of starting to come together and realize, this has happened in many sports over time. It's actually how the PGA Tour was formed in the first place. So yeah, I think it's nice to see that things are changing and people are coming together.
For sure. And I think one of the other opportunities that the game of golf provides is the ability to do work in the charity aspect of things. And I don't know if people always know this at home, that all these players are involved in various charities and foundations that they create. So can you explain, this is what drew me to you, because you and I had these conversations before. So when I first started my podcast, I knew I wanted to talk to you about this because I just thought it was just such a unique initiative. So can you tell me what the UGLI Foundation is? That's UGLI Foundation. What's the acronym for, and how this idea came about and the mission that's involved?
Yes. Well, the acronym, like you said, it's UGLI, UGLI, and it stands for Unique, Gifted, Loved, and Individual. And if you want to check it out, you can go to theuglifoundation.org so you can see it for yourself. We have a great website with tons of resources. We've been officially launched for over 2.5 years now, and things have been going great. The idea came about when I actually had children, and I knew I had always wanted to do something to kind of combat bullying because it's really a terrible problem that we have in our society. And as soon as I had children, I realized that I needed to do something to positively, change this world and kind of alter the path that we're going down. We're just so cruel and hurtful and harmful to each other. And I don't want my children growing up in a world where people are not kind. Social media has exacerbated that. There was no social media when I was in high school. I think Facebook came about when I was like a freshman, maybe sophomore in college. And it was just a completely different thing. It was something where there weren't too many things you could do on Facebook. You could maybe see, I think you could like chat with people. Eventually you could put pictures, and it was just different. And now you have all of these different things that are fantastic, all these different social media platforms, and they can be used in a really wonderful, positive, uplifting way. But people are not using them that way. You and I are sitting here talking right before, the Final Four. And, we've seen some people be really, really hateful to these basketball players. And, they're just kids in college just trying to play the sport that they love. And they can't do that without people hating on them. And do we really want to live in a world where, a kid misses a basket or whatever it might be, misses a touchdown catch, whatever, and we send them death threats? It's a sport, people. I mean, we can't live in a world like that. So, all that to say that I've seen so many things, in my professional career, people be really hurtful, to me, to my husband. And I knew that I wanted to start, this foundation, and make a change. And the mission of the foundation is literally to end bullying forever. That's our mission. It's a lofty goal, but we believe that, together we can all do that. And, we've just been working really, really hard on doing everything we can to slowly make that change and slowly make a positive impact. And it's been going very well.
And so let's talk about what you've accomplished so far with the foundation and how you see it impacting people and communities.
Yeah. So one of our biggest accomplishments is we're right now mostly in the state of Texas. And we have officially partnered with the David's Legacy Foundation, which is a foundation that was formed by the mother of David Molak, a boy who took his life because he was relentlessly bullied online. And his mom is an amazing woman. She's a good friend. Her name is Maureen. His family started this foundation, and they worked hand in hand with the Texas state legislature to make a law called David's Law, which was passed, I think, about 4 or 5 years ago. And it makes the online bullying of a minor in the state of Texas a Class A misdemeanor. So recently, a few years ago, they passed David's Law 2.0, and among other things in the law that law 2.0 holds parents more accountable, it holds the schools more accountable. But one of the things that it does is it is requiring that all schools, public schools in the state of Texas, have an organization that addresses bullying. They have to have some sort of like leadership group that addresses bullying, that is an organization that's inclusive, where kids can go if they feel like they need a place to talk. So the David's Legacy Foundation is endorsing our clubs, the UGLI clubs, to be in school. So we have the beta program going right now. It's going really well. We give the schools a nice grant to start the club and to fund if the teachers need funding, because public school teachers have so little time. They're forced to do, a lot of things. They have a lot on their plate. And so we really appreciate the teachers taking the time out to do, this as well. But it's really important, and we can't do it without the teachers and the counselors and the administrators. So that's been amazing. I go around and I speak to kids at schools. We call them ugly chats. I've had, many ugly chats, and that's always really fun to meet the kids in person and hear their stories. And there's a lot of happy stories, and then there's a lot of tears. But you do hear about, kids overcoming things, and that's always good to hear. Then our website, I'm super proud of it. Like I said earlier, theuglifoundation.org. We have so many great resources on the website. If you're being bullied, or if you know someone who's being bullied, I get a lot of questions from different adults. Maybe they're a next door neighbor of a kid who's being bullied, or it's the aunt or uncle and their niece or nephew is being bullied. And they ask, what can I do? And I direct them to our website. We have these great action steps that you can use if you're being bullied. And that's kind of all about, you can't change that person, but you can change how you internalize it and how you handle it. And, we want kids to know that, they're stronger than that person, and they can overcome that. And, they can get through that situation and actually, turn it to be maybe not something positive, but something that doesn't just absolutely wreck, their day or their week or their month. So that's really important. And then we actually have a really exciting partnership that we're working on. It's not public knowledge yet, but it's going to be huge. I talked to the team. They said I could mention that. I can't mention who it's with yet, but it's going to be pretty cool. Press release is going to be coming out for that in probably the next few weeks. So we'll definitely keep you updated on that as well. But things are going great.
That's awesome. And if I could just, bring into it, a little bit of even what I see and why I think this is so important is at the clinic I work for, I am seeing the patients who are older in life and the childhood traumas have manifested into chronic illness. And so I do think it's so important to have these resources to be able to deal with this in the moment, because it's all about how our bodies are internalizing what's happened. And it can seem to someone on the surface like it's something small. It happened once, it was this. But if our body is carrying that, trauma is all about what we make of it inside of our body. So something that's super traumatic and life-threatening could be seen, some people might be able to deal with that easier. It's all about how your body responds. So that's why I do think everything you're saying, everything you're providing is so important, because I'd really love to see less people having to deal with this 40 years later and realizing that it's caused issues for them for that long and it's manifested in them. So I think it's important. So what's your vision for the future for the foundation? I know you kind of just touched on that. We have big news coming, but you and I have talked about it before. We need a place for this conversation to live. I'm aware my podcast is probably small potatoes for this conversation to live, but as you know, I'll get it out to as many people as I can. But what's your vision for the future also, besides what you already referred to?
Well, first of all, I think your podcast is amazing, and what you're doing is incredible. And we're thrilled to be, to have this opportunity to talk about something so important. I do. You're right, and we've talked about it before. I would love in the future to have, some sort of platform. Maybe it's a radio show or something. I used to have a radio show on Sirius XM, PJ Tour Radio, and I absolutely loved that. And just having a place where people can come on and particularly maybe, athletes, celebrities, people like that people look up to. Maybe we have doctors and professors, educators, people like that have really made a big difference in our communities and our society come on and talk about their, examples of bullying and how they got through that and how they were still able to be extremely successful. And I think we've all been bullied in some way, shape, or form, or we've witnessed it. And it's always nice to hear, another person talk about their story, especially if it's similar, and hear what they did to overcome it. But as you were mentioning before, those action steps that we developed them with a place where, it's called the Timothy Center, and they are psychologists, and they help, a lot of people go through that same sort of trauma that you're speaking of. And those action steps, I think, have proved to be really, really useful and helpful. I know multiple stories of, a parent coming to us and saying, my child is being bullied. What can I do? We've shown them these action steps. They've used them, and the parent has come back and said, it helped. My kid is feeling more confident. They're not afraid to go to school. They're, they're using these, and it's making a huge difference in their day-to-day lives.
That's awesome to hear. It's awesome to hear, and it's so important. And I know it's a large task, like you said, but if we got to keep fighting the good fight. And so it does help, when you're in the spotlight, you get this platform, you get a voice. But tell people what goes into creating a charitable endeavor like this, because I'm not sure everyone fully grasps the amount of work that things like this take.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a ton of work. I mean, I originally came up with the idea of starting this foundation, the UGLI Foundation, I'd say maybe 7 or 8 years ago. And then, it took me years to get everything together, to map it out exactly like we wanted it to be. Then there's all the legal work that goes through, applying and asking for the 501c3 exemption. And, I remember when we got that was a huge day. It was a big celebration. And, when we officially launched, it was actually, we launched in October of 2021. So, just about a little over 2.5 years ago. And I remember, October is National Anti-Bullying Month, and it was really special to us to be able to launch that month. And just all the work that had gone into it was really rewarding to see that actually, come to fruition. And then all the things that we've accomplished, all the hundreds, thousands of kids' lives that we've touched, and all the stories that we're hearing about how it's making a difference has really, really made it worth it. But a lot goes into it. I had no idea. I mean, I didn't know. And now we also have the Sergio and Angela Garcia Foundation in the United States. The Sergio Garcia Foundation has existed in Spain and Switzerland for several decades now. But and the same sort of work went into that, and we launched that after the UGLI Foundation, and we've raised millions of dollars with our event that we have, our fundraising event. I think we've raised about $5 million already in 2 years. So that's been great as well.
Yeah, and I was going to ask, to piggyback off that, I know it's not just this, the other charitable endeavors you and Sergio are involved with, the 4Kids ATX. Can you want to talk about that? Go forward, let them know about that.
Sure. So like I said, we have the Sergio and Angela Garcia Foundation, and the name of our fundraising event that we have annually is called 4Kids ATX, and it's spelled FORE, for a little play on words, for golf there. And it's a couple of days of food, fun, music, and of course, golf. And we've had some incredibly talented artists play over the last few years. We've had Jose Andres come and be a guest, and you talk about, philanthropy and doing good. He's doing incredible work all over the world with World Central Kitchen. We've had some local celebrity chefs be a part of it as well. And then we've had a lot of, well-known athletes, actors, actresses come and support us. And it's been incredible. We had the event in Switzerland back in 2016, and so many of the golfers came. It was like a major championship field. I mean, we had so many guys there. And I remember after we did that, all the golfers asking, when are you going to do it again? When are you going to do it again? Because it was so much fun. And so, COVID put a little damper in our plans. And then we decided to pick it back up a couple of years ago, as I said, and it's just gone incredibly well. We've surpassed all of our fundraising goals. Like I said, in 2 years, we've raised about $5 million, and we're giving that money now to 4 organizations. And Sergio and I really believe in kids and the community. So the organizations that we support with that are Dell Children's Hospital, which is one of the best children's hospitals in the country. And we've personally had to take our son there several times, and they're doing incredible work. A lot of research is going on there. We're also supporting Foster Village, which they're in at least 9 states now. And that's an organization that supports foster families and then foster children from A to Z, no matter what the child might need. Because when a foster child is placed with the family doesn't have anything necessarily like a backpack for school, or, even a crib. If it's a baby, maybe that family won't have those things. And those kids can come there, literally get anything they need. A lot of these kids have never even had a new pair of shoes. And they get to go in and they get to pick a pair of shoes, and they get to pick toys. And it's a really big deal for them. And then they also have counseling there. They have therapy, they have play therapy. They provide that for the foster children, for the foster parents. And then they also provide it for the biological children of the foster parents, which is really amazing as well. Not every place does that. And some of our best friends are foster parents. We've learned so much about the system, and it needs a lot of work. And we need more great families, doing their part if they can, if they have the capacity to help with these kids, because they deserve as good of a life and to be loved just like everybody else. So we love Foster Village. And then I'm on the board of, it's called Save Muni, which Lions Municipal Golf Course is a public golf course right in the heart of Austin. It's been there for 100 years now. And it was the first public course in the South to desegregate. So it has a really rich history. And, that land is really valuable. The University of Texas owns it. And we're just trying to save it. We're trying to work, hand in hand with the University of Texas and with the city of Austin to keep that green space there. Austin is really low in green space. We just don't have much of it. The oak trees out there at Muni are spectacular alone. Like, just, so it's an awe when you go out there to see the sheer size of these oak trees. And it's a special place, and about 15 public schools practice out there. And, if we lose that golf course, where are they going to practice? And it's a place where kids, no matter if they can afford to pay or not, they're welcome. They can participate in the junior program. And, Sergio and I believe so strongly in the sport of golf and what it does. It teaches us honesty and integrity, and just how to be a good person. And we believe that, if every kid had the opportunity to play golf, the world would be a better place. So we're working really hard to save that golf course. When we save that one, we'll move on to another public course, I'm sure. And then the fourth organization that we support is the UGLI Foundation, which we've talked about, and we're giving a lot of that money away as grants to schools.
So important to grow the game and to do all these things for kids and all of that. So I'll circle back a little bit. How can people get involved and support some of these charitable endeavors, especially the UGLI Foundation? Like, if you want to give how they can connect with that, or what, even if let's say you're a parent and your child's been bullied, what's step one? We can even go there and then talk about other ways to connect with you in some of these charitable endeavors.
Sure. Well, as I mentioned, the website again, theuglifoundation.org, you can go on there and you can donate directly on the website if you'd like. But more importantly, we ask everybody to come on and sign our anti-bullying pledge. That means you will not tolerate bullying. That you will be in the world, we call it an upstander. That you will stand up for someone if you see that they're being bullied. We want to teach these kids, don't be a bystander, be an upstander. Find a trusted adult and go tell them what's happening. And stand up for your friends. Don't just stand by and let it happen. So take that pledge. And then we do have ambassadors for the UGLI Foundation as well. So you can go on, you can read how to become an ambassador if you'd like. You get some cool UGLI swag, and then you can represent and then just like lead the life of an UGLI ambassador, which means, you're kind to people and uplifting, and you're spreading that, that joy and that kindness to everybody. And you're there for people, that are being bullied. And then we actually have a page there that has a lot of books that for different ages, and then for parents as well, that kind of can help you with bullying and kind of how to get through that. We have the action steps that we talked about before. We have a page that talks about all of our programs. So, you can read about the programs. If you see something you like, send us a message, and we can certainly find ways for people to get involved. And then we always love suggestions of, this is kind of what I've been through. This is what I think would be helpful. Maybe something else we can be doing. We always love to hear from people.
That's awesome. And then any social media ways you want them to connect to?
Sure, please. We have on all the different platforms, Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, all of that. I'm Angela Garcia on all of those. And then we have the UGLI Foundation on all of those as well. And then, of course, Sergio is, I think, the Sergio Garcia on those platforms. And you can follow him as well and learn about everything. 4Kids ATX has a social media handle as well. So, we just invite everybody to do what they can to make this world a better place. I think if we all lived that way and focused on being a little bit kinder to everybody, whether they're a stranger or a friend, I think it would be a better place. And, everybody I walk by every day, I try to say hi, give them a smile, tell them thank you if they hold the door for me. And it just seems so simple, but you never know when, you might completely change someone's day or turn around, turn it around if they're having, a really, really bad time. And just that little tiny act of kindness can make a big difference.
If I can add one question to it, I'm going to take a time out here, because all of that is so positive and so wonderful to get out in the world. But I want us to both share together as former college athletes to just have some pride right now in what is going on in women's sports, because it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Do you feel like I did, that it's kind of a sense of pride and accomplishment, even though I'm not the one playing per se?
Sure.
It's what you're seeing across the board, and the respect that these women are getting for their play. I mean, especially, Caitlin Clark and what's gone on at the women's Final Four.
Oh yeah, it's been incredible to watch. I mean, the talk, around it, and the attention, as you said, and the viewership is up like exponentially, and everything that we're seeing. I mean, Caitlin Clark has been incredible to watch. I've never seen anything like it. I'm certainly not a basketball player like that, but I made All-State in basketball in the state of Texas, and I love basketball, and I've never seen somebody play the game the way she does, particularly on the women's side. And we're about to see her face up with UConn, and they've got some players on there that are no slouches either. I mean, Paige is incredible. So we'll see what happens in that game. And I'm just super pumped for women's sports. We have the Augusta National Women's Amateur Championship coming up, and that's so cool. The girls get to play the final round at Augusta National, where the men play the Masters. I got to witness the the University of Texas volleyball team, win another national championship back to back. Sergio and I flew there. It was in Tampa, watched them, and those girls are just so good. They're not building female athletes like they used to. They're kicking some ass, and it's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, I watched that volleyball team because my husband is a Wisconsin guy, and Wisconsin was in that, and I mean, it's unreal. And I will say this as someone, I'm probably dating myself really badly here, and I'm a lot older than you, but I watched Kim Mulkey play for La Tech. That's how old I am. Okay.
Wow.
And I have never seen across the board the type of talent, just 1 through 5 on all of these teams. It's pretty incredible. So I'm just glad for one, and like you, proud of what's happening in women's sports. I'm also proud of everything that you're doing, with Sergio, and I'm so glad for both of you and for your success, because you both, I consider you both friends. I thank you both for, allowing me to take the time to do this with you today. And you can come back anytime, promote anything you want, and I will do my best to get it out to as many people as I can.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christine. Same. We consider you a great friend, and we appreciate everything you're doing as well.